Hey, it's John McCarter here. I'd like to do a video about grip machines. I've been asked a few times what's the best one to use, which one should I go with, which one, how can I do this or that. Look, I may not have all the answers to what's the best and what's out there, but in these videos I'm going to detail the machines that I've used. Now, as far as something like the Eccentric Gripper grip machine, I know nothing about it, and I can't really tell you anything about it. So just do a little research on somebody who has used one. But anyhow, let me get to the video and show you the machines that I use. Now, one of the machines, I've already gone over the techniques used in it, so I don't need to do anything like that again. Well, let's begin. First machine we have here is the secret weapon. Alright, for those who remember, I actually have a video on how to do this. This machine, if people are not familiar with it, it's one that Joe Kinney personally came up with, and the design is real simple. Matter of fact, this base right here, you don't even need it. If you have something back here to where you could hook it onto the wall, you could easily just stick it on the wall, do negatives, and this machine is perfect for doing negatives. I don't really use it for repetitions where I'll have the weight like this and I'm kind of doing something like that. What I do is I'll usually just hold it for time, about 5 seconds, no more. And whenever I actually do negatives, I don't just hold it shut. I actually crush the hell out of it. But again, this machine, it was designed by Joe Kinney, and the purpose was specifically for negatives. I mean, the machine is very simple, and whenever the weight is being suspended from right here, it becomes twice as much. You don't really need a whole lot for what this machine produces. Well, I'm not really going to go into detail on this because there's already a video. I may link it. Check the description box below. Alright, that's enough for this machine. Now I'm going to show another machine that was created by Joe Kinney. But this one is actually a replica. Not this one. It's over there. Alright, here's the second grip machine that I use. This is what's called the Joe Kinney Grip Machine. Now this is actually a replica of the original, of what the original was. The original, what it was from here on down to here. Now this base, it was actually at, what was under there was actually an old truck wheel or rim. Sorry, I just can't remember right off the bat, so you're going to have to excuse me. Now this machine, the main difference on it compared to a lot of other grip machines is these handles. Now, I have this athletic tape on here for a specific reason, because if I was to have electrical tape while I was doing a negative, yeah, it will pinch the skin pretty bad. Now, if you actually look, these handles are actually grounded and filed, so you have a little bit of a beyond the range type training. This machine is not good for repetitions. And when I say it's not good for repetitions, don't try to just do that. This is a machine specifically designed for negatives, because one, if you were to do some repetitions like that with this machine, heavy weights, trust me, you are going to get pinched like hell. Now this machine, as you can see, it's pretty basic. There's not a whole lot to it. And that's something I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video, is what exactly are you going to be using the grip machine for? Are you going to be doing it for progression? And what I mean by that, are you going to be adding more weight through here? Are you just looking to build up some crushing strength? Are you looking to progress to higher level grippers? It's all up to you as far as what you want to do. Now, with this machine, I will say the most I've ever done with this machine is a little over 300 pounds. And when you actually get to about that much, you'll need something to actually cheat the handles up. I've used the Iron Mind Super Squat's hip belt, which I do plan to do a review of that. But you'll have to cheat the weight up, and your hand won't be on like that. It'll be more like this. And really, I suggest you have it in a manner to where your hand is kind of like that, because if it's like that, you're not really going to do much. Now, I'll describe more of how the hand placement should be in terms of gaining strength on grip machines, because there's a proper way and there's a negative way. And no, I'm not being ironic for the factor of saying negative. Alright, now the machine is pretty simple. It's straightforward. There's not much to it. Now, I'll say this. Another way you could train on this machine, if you can actually get your hands on one, is get some of those mini bands that Sornex.com puts out, wrap them around there, or wrap them down there, bring them up onto this bottom handle. You can do somewhat of actual regular repetitions with that, but I would suggest still doing negatives, because one, you're going beyond the range. Those handles are filed, and they will hurt like a bitch. Trust me on that. I've personally experienced it myself. Now, I would actually like to mention that this machine was actually given to me. I didn't buy it or persuade anybody to give it to me. The original owner of the machine, I'm beyond grateful for what you actually did, man. This machine, it rocks. It is literally a beast to use. Something else I forgot to mention about this particular machine, when you get up to heavy weights, and I'm talking in excess of 250 or 270, 280, 290, 300 plus, getting these handles up is going to be a chore. Now, what I would suggest, hold on, at the bottom of this gripper, and that's something I would also like to mention, is that if you hear me use the term gripper, I always refer to grip machines as that, and I will explain later and as to why I refer to grip machines as grippers. Now, if you actually see down here at the base, what I would suggest, if you get this machine, actually do some type of work where you drill a hole in here, take a bolt, but set it to the height that you want. Maybe make several adjustments, drill several holes. So the reason why is so you could actually, so you can actually get these handles to be cheated more. And when I say cheated, you don't have to go no more than that. If it's 300 pounds and you don't want to go all the way down, you don't want to work all the way up, you don't want more than this, it's up to you. This is up to you. No matter what you choose with this particular machine, it all comes down to what feels right for you. If it's no more than that you can honestly handle with heavy loads, just do that, If that's the extent, just do that. Now, something I would also add, but I don't know how to weld, is, this is normally how you would approach the machine. I've tried it from this way. Doesn't work out too well, but normally you will use the machine from right here. What I would suggest, if you could, weld a handle right here and here. The reason why is because what you're actually doing with this particular machine is you're primarily working these two fingers because all the force of what's going on is down here. Yes, you're getting a little bit of the strength back here, but it's primarily these two fingers and a little bit of the thumb pad. You know, that's about the extent of what you're getting. You know, even right now, just holding it like that, I can feel that it's just my index, middle finger, and somewhat of the ring finger. Besides that, the ring and pinky, they don't really get too much work from this machine. But again, it is a really, really good machine. It offers exactly what you need if you're looking to do negatives. Same goes for the secret weapon. Now, those two machines were conceived by the mind of probably one of the most controversial figures in all of grip, but that, we're not going to debate that here. No, don't comment. If you do, I'm going to delete the comment, okay? Just don't. No, don't. Okay, sorry, just had to do that. But no, this machine, it's really simple. You can get a lot of weight on here. It doesn't require much. I don't actually have any standard plates. Most of what I have is all Olympic. And I've gotten well over 300 pounds on here. The secret weapon, I've probably done more weight on that than any other man alive. I think the most I've done on it is about maybe, and I would have to check my personal records, is about maybe 293 pounds. But again, this isn't a video about debate on how much weight you can actually do with this particular machine or that machine. It's about developing strength. Well, I don't really have too much more to say about this machine, so we'll just call it a day on this. Alright, here is the Thor Grip Machine. This machine right here is produced and made by the legendary godfather of grip himself, Warren Tedding. Now Warren, if you don't know who he is, seriously, go to his website, thorstrength.com, and literally, right now, as of this video, this machine is on sale for under $130. You could probably get it for about $119, but this is just a sale they're doing right now, so this isn't permanent. This is probably the cheapest machine to get on the market right now. It is the most basic. They offer two models. It involves the peg. They have it for standard or Olympic weights. I chose to go with the Olympic because that's what I have. And seriously, this machine is so simple, it's ridiculous. The only thing I really have a problem with is the base. It should be slightly wider, no more than about that. You know, where the thumb and just this. So, the reason why I say that is because it's a little wobbly and it could fall on you. Now, the only other problem I really have about this machine is the handle width. You know, when it comes to hand grippers versus grip machines, there is a big difference. I mean, a huge difference. A hand gripper, you actually deal with a dynamic resistance. You know, you don't, and we have the ways of rating them. Don't come to me asking for ratings. I don't do them. Sorry. But with grip machines, you're actually dealing with live weight. You know, this isn't just, you know, something like a hand gripper where, you know, it may come out to 170 pounds. When you actually get 170 pounds on here, that resistance is way, way, way different. It's not the same. It's not as dynamic. Now, one thing you'll notice is, see how wide it is? if you have a problem where the machine is actually like that, I suggest actually cheating these handles up. You know, you don't actually have to do it yourself. The easiest way, get some wood, open that up, actually just slide it right under, there. Now the machine, this is actually the distance that I will use, and if I have to cheat it up a little more to about 19 millimeters or 20 millimeters, and just do that, that's a great help right there. That alone will save you a hell of a lot of time on actually just doing all this effort. And if you can actually notice, there's some athletic tape on here. The reason why is because the material kind of actually, if you're doing high reps, it can burn the skin. I did something similar with the secret weapon where I put on the end of the handle some athletic tape so it doesn't burn my hand when I'm doing some heavy negatives. I might actually do a video on my variation of negatives and how to approach them in a proper manner, but I'm going to say this. The secret weapon, it's a specialized grip machine. The Kinney grip machine, it's specialized. And the grip machine that I'm going to show after this, it's the most universal. It has more features than any other grip machine, and if you know what I'm talking about, just keep it a secret. Don't comment, don't say anything. Alright, but the Warren Tedding grip machine, or as I call it, the Thor Gripper, is the most basic plate-loaded grip machine you can get for your money. And when I say the most basic, you don't have any extra features. You just have the machine, the peg. You know, if you cheat the handles up, that's up to you. And the machine itself. Literally, you could train in several variations where you're standing like this, or you're standing like this, where one hand is like this and the other is like that. It's up to you. I know a lot of people actually will be at the ends of the handles. Personally, I think that's one of the wrong ways of training on a grip machine. You need to be at the center. Why do I say that? Well, look. Down here, if there was, say, 300 pounds on here, you lift it up with two hands, it's going to be lighter because you're further away from the center of gravity or the center of mass. The closer you get, the heavier the resistance is going to be. Now, again, you'll see that my hand is in this particular position. Now, why? It's almost the same as it is on the Kinney grip machine replica. Why is that? Well, if you approach a grip machine where you're kind of grasping it like a barbell, which could be like this, you're not getting any benefit because look, your fingers are wrapping around it. That's not good. What you want to do with a grip machine, you want to work the ends of the fingers. See? Okay, now here comes something I said before. I refer to grip machines as grippers. Now, why do I do that? Simple. There is a vast difference between a grip machine and a hand gripper, but the ultimate goal is the same. Sorry about that. It's to get stronger. Now, what you want to do is train in the same manner. You want to think of that the same as this. There's really no difference. You know, if you actually have real weight on here, you're not going to get the same dynamic effect as you would with this. But if your goal is to get a killer crushing force, just, you know, use it in the same manner as you would a hand gripper. The most basic way I can put it is, think of this as a huge hand gripper. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. You know, this hand gripper that you actually have is adjustable. Whereas this is fixed, that's not. You can actually improvise. You know, say you don't feel as strong as you normally would one day. You bust that out. Say you've been doing 250 pounds, but you want to go lower. Take off 40 pounds and do the same thing. Now, on almost all these machines, I love to do eccentric training, or better known as negatives. Now, I'll make a video detailing my use of negatives after these, but trust me, it's not like severe negatives. I hate those. Those are what I believe to be the worst negatives or eccentric training to be, because you're going to facilitate injuries, pain, and you're going to be hurting a lot. Okay, now I got a little off topic, but if you're looking for nothing but the most basic machine you can, this is it. This is your machine that you could go with. It's very simple. And, you know, if you don't want extra features, this is it. This is the machine to go with. I wouldn't recommend anything else. If you're looking for something extra, go with that. If you're looking for basic, something that can be utilized for reps and all that, this is it. Now, again, right now this machine is on sale, very cheap, and I don't know if they'll ever be that cheap again. Seriously, check it out. By the way, I'll have a link to below to where you can actually go find this grip machine. Well, that's all I have to say about the Thor Gripper. Alright, I covered the Joe Kinney grip machine, secret weapon, which, by the way, is in another video detailed all by its own. And now, out of all these machines, I should note that the secret weapon was a machine that I used in my pursuit to be certified on the Captain's Crush number 3. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out and buy that gripper or that grip machine just to progress to a number 3, 3.5, number 4. What I would actually also suggest is, if you're using a particular grip machine, really think about what it is you want from it. Because if you're using the secret weapon to do negatives, when, for that matter, you've never done negatives, don't do it. You're going to injure yourself. And also, if you notice on the secret weapon, I didn't have the top handle file beyond the range. I don't really like beyond the range training too much. I'll do it myself. But there's only a few grippers I would do it on. In my personal grip program right now, I should note that all grip machines are actually put to the side. I'm actually using real hand grippers, and mostly what I'm doing is very heavy negatives and overcrushes. A little pinch action. That's it. And the overcrush gripper that I'm using, I actually have it filed down. I'll actually go get it to show what it looks like. But it's an Elite, and it feels like it's actually about maybe 171 to 174 pounds. And with my right hand, if you notice, sucker has gotten huge. Really huge. But not only that, so is the left. But right now, all grip machine action is put to the side, and yes, I am getting off topic for that specific reason. So just note that I'm not working with any particular grip machine. It's just strictly hand grippers for the next 5 weeks. After that, I'm probably going to get right back onto grip machines with no problem. Alright, now I'm done with this machine. I'm going to cut it here. I'm going to get on to the most universal grip machine on the market right now for sale. Alright, here it is. The most universal grip machine in the world. And when I say the most universal, it is universal. What you see here is the Thor Gripper grip machine. This machine is, the reason why I say it's the most versatile machine out there is because this and these, it's on both sides. You can actually put resistance bands right here, and there is an endless combination you can do. I actually have the bands right here. These come with it automatically. You know, there's those. Hold on. These bands, they really create a dynamic feel with the machine itself. I don't know what these bands particularly come out to, but let me just say this. I had a 35 or a 45 pound plate on here. I had all these bands on, and I couldn't budge the damn machine one bit. And for those who don't know, I'm actually a certified captain of crush for the number 3. I can close a 3.5 pretty good on certain days. I'm actually getting to the point where I can almost get the MM3 replica. And that sucker that I have is rated at 183 pounds. Okay, but this machine, it's very different. It's the most different grip machine I've ever seen. And not only do you have these little pegs right here, this right here, if you don't have Olympic, you only have standard, you will accommodate both. No problem. This right here, if you get the particular device for it, you can actually simulate the secret weapon. I mean, that's why I say it's the most universal, is because not only that, you have a regular grip machine, you have a feature for negatives, or you know, you can work regular, it's up to you. It's a grip machine with the secret weapon combined. And not only that, you can do so many different variations. Now, the way that I particularly train with this is I'll get onto this side. Sorry about that. And do 2 hands where they're back to back like this. And just do it like that. And again, I always have a problem with the machine itself being too wide. So those boards, I'll stick them right under there. And one thing that you probably notice is this handle. It's powder coated, so this is probably the only machine right now on the planet that can actually hold chalk. And when I say it can hold chalk, I mean, look at this. You know, it stays. I mean, that helps out greatly. On other machines, you just don't get that. Now, this machine, it's fantastic. It's one of a kind. It's actually a replica of what Richard Soren actually used to train his grip to get as strong as possible. And one thing I should mention is that this machine is very well constructed. It does wobble just a little, but it's very sturdy. And not only that, you can put it together maybe 5 or 10 minutes depending on what you're doing. Now, the negative aspect of what this machine does, my hands are not over 8 inches. I believe that if you have hands that are under 8 inches, about maybe 7.5, you're probably okay. But if they're like 7 inches, somewhere within the 6 range, this machine is going to be your worst enemy. It will not work for you. Matter of fact, it will work against you. Now, if your hands are over 8 inches, this is going to be a fantastic machine because these handles, and that's why I'm actually saying that this is actually kind of a downside to the machine. If you look, if I was to have 280 pounds on here, which I've come close to, if I don't have these handles cheated, and I'm saying probably to right there, and should note that that's about as far as my particular machine goes. It's because of the welding right there. Can't see that too well. But you're not going to actually be able to close it all the way. There's going to be a little space. But these handles, I'm going to be honest, they're a hindrance for me. It really holds me back. Now, I'm not saying that actually takes away from the machine itself. No, it actually adds to it. Because it works your grip in a specific manner that simulates thick bar motion. You know, if you're not familiar with thick bar, it's more or less a handle that's really thick. But altogether, when the handles are all the way up, you're looking at about 3 inches. Now, really think about that. If you are an individual who does not have a huge hand, these handles are going to work against you. Trust me, I'm being straight up with you. But seriously, if Sornex offered a version where if it was just standard handles, and I'm saying maybe 1 inch, to where this comes out to about 2 inches instead of about 3 or whatever it is, I would have to measure it. But if it came out to this and this to being 2 inches or 1.5 inches, whatever, it doesn't matter, I would love the machine way more. This is one of the machines, even though it's the most universal in its application, it's the one that I like but hate the most. The Thor Gripper. See, if it had this, same on this side, and this powder coating, I would probably never use anything else. And when I say not use anything else, I would probably only keep the the hand grippers that I have, like this GHP level 7. Probably can't see that too well. But if there was a custom model, say this is the standard model, And then there was a custom model where the handles were actually thinner, not so much thick. I would gladly give this particular machine up just for that. And I would probably very rarely ever touch something like this, but only to test myself out progression wise. Now, I'll say this much: with these thick handles, it will. What I actually do like is that, one, it does work you, but it's different because you can actually incorporate your pinch grip. You could do two-hand pinching very easily with this, and it wouldn't take much weight. Matter of fact, you could probably take these bands, put them on there. Here, I'll actually stop it right here and get some of these bands on. Alright, now I have these little bands on here. It's the red ones. And by the way, these are the absolute lightest bands they offer for this particular machine. And it's tough. Don't be fooled by these bands. I was mistaken myself in actually thinking that they were nothing. Man, they put on so much resistance, you won't even believe it. It's fantastic. It's one of the only ways that you can have the same feel as a regular hand gripper because of the dynamic tension that these bands are actually producing. I mean, if it was from here to there, you would have a little resistance, not too much, but when it's from here to here, these bands, let me just say this, it's a whole different ballgame. It's different. This machine, it's not a regular grip machine. I'm going to say that first and foremost. This is the most universal machine ever built. If it's, and again, I'm just going over this, standard, Olympic. You got this little feature right here to where you could use these bands for negative work. You can use this machine to actually build up your crushing strength, your pinching strength, and one, you could just use these bands and you would still get worked out. I mean, these are the lightest bands that is offered for this machine. You can get heavier bands, but they'll be different and they'll probably be harder. Alright. Well, that's about all I have for these machines. I'll go over a little bit more as far as training goes. Alright, now I've gone over the grip machines, pretty much done with showing what they are. Now, there was a machine that I actually did not show. Now, you're looking at two grippers that I'm using, and I'll get to those in a minute. But with grip machines, what I want you to really think about is, what is it that you want to use them for? Now, you can use them to actually get a huge crushing strength, but doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to close a number 3 or a number 4. You do need to use hand grippers to a certain extent. Now, the method that I always said that worked best for me is negatives, but that may not work for you, so something like the Secret Weapon or the Joe Kinney Grip Machine may not work best for you. If you benefit more from actually doing repetitions, let me just say the Pops Gripper or the Thor Gripper will definitely be a better pursuit for you. And don't be fooled. One thing to really consider is that each grip machine will be different. Each one has their own unique features. You know, everyone is different unless you buy a duplicate of said same machine. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that, but that's your discretion. Now, mostly what I do is I use grip machines for negatives. They work for me, and I know they're not going to work for everybody. I have used these machines to actually do repetitions on. I did notice a slight increase, but still never kind of like the same with negatives. And speaking of negatives, I'll show you those grippers that I'm using right now that I mentioned before. Switching that over. These are the two grippers I'm using. Now, this is obviously a tedding gripper and a GHP gripper. Now, this gripper I'm using for heavy negatives. When I say negatives, I'm not holding it shut until, my hand opens all the way. Forget that. I think that facilitates heavy injuries to a certain degree. Now, if you notice, on this handle, it's slightly filed. Not much. Just enough to make it more difficult. I'm actually thinking about taking a little more off of this. And by the way, if you ever see me use a gripper that I filed, I don't have any tools, so this was hand done. And if you're wondering what level this is from tedding, that may say otherwise. I've closed this a number of times. I'm going to make a little video showing me actually doing an overcrush on this, and yes, I'm using this for overcrushes. This gripper, on the other hand, is what I'm using for heavy negatives. I've gotten it to about right there. Yeah, right there. Where it's just that much between the handles. But that's cheating it. And if you're wondering if this is a level 8, nope. It is a GHP level 9. Just show. I don't really have the little measuring tool on hand to show that this is an authentic GHP 9. But for those who actually have this gripper, please realize you know what the spring size looks like. Don't question me. I don't mess with my grippers besides what I did here with this. That's really all I will ever do to alter a gripper. I don't like doing it. But okay. That's enough about what I'm doing with these. Now, when you're actually using grip machines, first thing I would suggest is keep the weight light, or play around with what you think you can do. And when I say think what you can do, maybe you could try out, I don't know, maybe 200 pounds. Now, if you can actually manage to do that, maybe that's the weight you're intended to work out with. But I would really suggest, is negatives something that should be incorporated with the grip machines? Should repetitions be the ones you go with? That's all going to depend on what it is you're going after. Again, I've said plenty of times before, repetitions, they somewhat work for me, not too much. Now, I respect anybody who can build up strength from that. I just can't. I don't know what to tell you. My hands, they just want to do the exact opposite. So that's why I do eccentric training. But let's see here. On grip machines, what I really suggest is know the exact machine you want. Don't just simply go with, say, the Thor Gripper or something called the X Gripper. You know what you want. Just don't rush to get it. Actually take the time to contemplate what it is you want, because trust me, once you get it and it just sits and collects dust, you're wasting your time. Don't beat around the bush. Know exactly that if you get this machine, you want to invest in it. Now, there was a machine that I did not show on this video, and for good reason. I don't own it anymore. That's the Iron Mind Gorilla Grip Machine. It was probably the only other machine that I didn't like. And that's why I actually got rid of it. Now, the machine itself, well constructed. There's no binding, can easily close up. It has a little bit of a beyond the range type training, so it's good for that. But ultimately, the problem that I had with it was wrist. Now again, what I suggest you do if you're going to get a grip machine, view it as a huge adjustable gripper. Take the hand grippers you use. For myself, it would be these. But I'm on a strict program right now where I have to use those grippers for the next 5 weeks. And maybe I might progress to heavier grippers. But don't BS yourself, man. If you get a grip machine, use it. I mean, seriously, figure out what works best for you. I can't necessarily say that one particular spot is going to work better, but if you're going to do one-handed closes on it, always try to have your hand at the center. The reason why, again, I said it before, is you're at the center of the weight. The further away you are from the center of the handle, the less work you have to do. When you get to the center, you're going to be working with about 100% of it. Well, if there's any questions that you have, or if there's anything that I left out, comment below, let me know. I'll get right to you. And before I actually leave, I want people to understand that these machines that I have in the videos, I'm not selling. I just won't do it. The reason why is because each one of these machines I do use, but I use them for a different reason. The last 5 weeks and the 5 weeks to come. I'm not on any grip machines. I am strictly using hand grippers. So, doesn't mean that I've given up on the use of grip machines. It just means that my training has changed. I have to do something different. And again, what I said before, I'm using heavy negatives and heavy overcrushes. And if you know what program I'm using, but hey, I've said it before, if you have these machines, think about why you want to use them. Just don't jump to a conclusion that, oh, maybe a grip machine will work for me. No, don't do that. You're asking for trouble, because you might end up not wanting to use it, or you just don't want it at that point. When you actually use the grip machine, give it everything. And when I say everything, I mean crush those handles together. Make them almost bend to your will. Don't just, pick it up. It's like, easy. Use it like a hand gripper. Trust me, it's going to have a different feel altogether. And if you don't have any weights and you just have the grip machine itself, cheat the handles up, hold it like you would a hand gripper, and stand on it. Do that. Try to rep your own body weight out. Again, I know I might be getting off topic with going from the hand grippers to the grip machines, but what it all comes down to is what it is you feel that you want from the machine. You know, everything that I'm saying here is what I've practiced, what I've preached for a long time. It's what works for me. And what works for me may not work for you one bit. But it doesn't mean that you cannot modify what it is that will work for you. If you get a machine, know which one you want. And I mean, seriously, just go for the one that you want. Play with it. Find the hand position that works for you. And just dominate the machine. Just destroy it. And progress. I would also say, if you do all that and practice setting a gripper or working little with hand grippers, you'll see a dynamic improvement greatly. But that just depends on your level. Alright, that's the end of this video. Catch you later.